The mysterious crash. The desert was quiet. Nothing moved except the hot wind, blowing dust across the cracked ground. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed across the sky. A streak of fire shot through the clouds and crashed into the sand, sending up a cloud of smoke and heat. Jake dropped his toolbox and looked up from under the engine he was fixing. "What the hell was that?" he muttered. His friend Liam ran out of the workshop, already grabbing his scanner. "Something just crash-landed," Liam said, scanning the horizon, about 2 kilometers out. "Another meteor?" Jake asked. Liam shook his head. "Too slow for a meteor. It's something else." Something controlled. Without waiting, they both jumped into their desert rover and sped across the sand. The sun beat down hard, and the smoke in the distance grew bigger as they got closer. When they reached the crash site, their eyes widened. It was a small silver pod, not human-made. The design was sleek, smooth, and glowing faint blue from the underside. The metal looked untouched by fire, but there were deep dents and scratches along the sides. "Definitely alien tech," Jake said, amazed. The hatch hissed open slowly. A soft alarm beeped from inside. Both men stepped back, unsure. What might come out? A moment later, a figure rolled out of the doorway and fell into the sand. It was a girl, an alien girl. She was small and slim, her skin a soft lavender color, glowing slightly in the sun. Her silver hair floated around her like mist, and her eyes, though half closed, flashed golden for a second. She wore a strange jumpsuit, torn at the side. In her hand, she clutched a glowing pendant. Jake knelt beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" Her lips moved slightly, no words. Just a whisper of breath. Her chest rose and fell slowly. "She was alive but weak. We need to get her back to the station," Liam said. Now, they carried her carefully into the rover. She didn't resist. Her hand stayed closed tightly around the pendant. Back at the outpost, they laid her on a soft bed inside the med bay and connected basic scanners. Her heartbeat was fast but stable. Her body temperature was warmer than humans, but not dangerous. As Jake wiped sweat from his brow, the alien girl opened her eyes. Golden, bright, intelligent. She stared at the ceiling for a moment, then turned to look at both of them. Her lips moved again. This time she spoke. Her voice was soft, musical, and shaky. "Which one of you is the father?" Jake blinked. "What?" Liam frowned. "What did she just say?" The alien girl sat up slightly, holding her side. "I was told one of you helped create the child, my child. You must know." The room fell silent. Jake and Liam looked at each other, confused and stunned. "I think you have the wrong people," Jake said slowly. "We've never seen you before." The alien girl shook her head. "One of you came a long time ago. You don't remember. But your DNA was used. I escaped with the truth. They tried to stop me. Now I need help." Liam stepped back. "This has to be a mistake." But just then, the scanner beeped. Jake glanced at the monitor. His heart dropped. "Liam," he said, pointing to the screen. "That scanner shows a DNA match, 50% human." "She's telling the truth." Liam looked at the screen. "That's impossible." The alien girl leaned back, her strength fading. "Help me, or they will come. They will take me back, and the child will never be free." She passed out. The room went quiet again. Outside, the desert wind howled. Jake and Liam stood in silence. "Do you think this is some alien trick?" Liam asked. Jake's voice was low. "I don't know, but if she's right, someone played with our past, and now it's coming back." Suddenly, a faint sound buzzed from the scanner again. A hidden signal, pulsing in the background. Liam checked the feed. "She's being tracked." Jake stared at the unconscious alien girl. "And now, so are we. DNA doesn't lie, or does it?" Jake didn't sleep that night. The alien girls, Voice kept echoing in his head. Which one of you is the father? Liam sat across the room, arms crossed, staring at the floor. The soft hum of machines filled the silence as the alien girl lay unconscious in the medbed, her lavender skin glowing faintly in the dark. The DNA scanner had shown something real, something terrifying. 50% human. One of them was connected. To her. But how? We need answers, Jake finally said. No kidding, Liam muttered. But where do we even start? I don't remember ever leaving Earth, let alone making a baby with an alien. Jake nodded. Same here. But what if it wasn't natural? Liam looked up. What do you mean? What if someone used our DNA without permission? Jake asked. Some secret program, some experiment. You know how those black labs work. Liam didn't answer. But deep down, he felt a chill. The next morning, the alien girl woke up again. Her golden eyes were clearer now. She sat up slowly, holding her side. My name is Kiara, she said softly. Jake brought her water. I'm Jake. That's Liam. She looked at both of them carefully, her eyes searching their faces. I remember ... flashes, she whispered. A lab, cold lights, human voices. I was part of something. They called it Project Hybrid. Liam frowned. That sounds military. Kiara nodded. They took my people's genetics and combined it with human DNA. They wanted to create a child powerful, unique. They said it would bring peace, but others wanted to use it as a weapon. Jake leaned forward. So you escaped? She nodded. I had help. A human, someone kind. But I never saw his face. They wiped my memory. Then how do you know it's one of us? Liam asked. Kiara reached into her torn jumpsuit and pulled out the pendant she had been holding. It opened. Inside, a small hologram flickered to life, a blurred image of two humans in spacesuits. Jake and Liam froze. Even blurry, the two figures looked exactly like them. I found this in the lab before I escaped, Kiara said. I thought maybe it was a clue. Liam stood up and paced. This can't be real. We've never worked for any lab like that. Right, Jake? Jake didn't answer right away. I don't know, he said slowly. Remember 2 years ago, that job on Titan's moon? We were hired for a transport mission, but we were gone for over a week. And when we came back, neither of us could remember anything. Liam's eyes widened. You think that was related? Jake nodded. Memory wipes. Hidden labs, it fits. Kiara looked at them both. The child I carry. It is part of both our species. I don't know which of you is the source. But the connection is real. Jake rubbed his face. We need proof. Something solid. They contacted an old friend, Dr. Malin, a retired scientist who had worked with classified human-alien projects. He now lived in a small shielded base deep in the mountain region. When he saw Kiara through the screen, his face turned pale. You two idiots were involved in that program? He said. We don't remember anything, Jake replied. Please, Doc, what do you know? Malin sighed. I warned them this would backfire. They took you both to Facility X. The goal was to use hybrid tech to create a new life form. They erased your memories afterward. You were test subjects. Liam clenched his fists. So they stole from us. More than that, Malin said. If the child survives, every major alien government will want it. Some will want to kill it. Others will want to control it. Why? Jake asked. Because that child could be the first step in creating a new species, a perfect bridge between two worlds, peace or war. The screen went black. They stood in silence again. Kiara placed a hand on her stomach, her face calm but sad. They will come for me, she said. They are already searching. If they find me, they will take the child and destroy anyone who stands in the way. Jake looked at Liam. What do we do? Liam grabbed his coat. We fight back. But first, we figure out which one of us they used. We deserve the truth. Jake nodded. Let's run a full DNA match, all the way to the root. Let's find out who this child belongs to. That night, they powered up the advanced gene sequencer. It would take hours, but unknown to them. In the sky above the desert, a small black ship appeared, silent, invisible to most scanners. Inside, red eyes blinked. Alien soldiers received the signal from Kiyora's pendant, and they began to descend. The memory block. The desert night was quiet, but something dark moved above the clouds. A stealth ship hovered silently in the sky, hidden from human satellites. Inside it, 3 armored alien soldiers stared at a glowing screen. A signal blinked on and off. Kiyora's pendant was still active. The ship adjusted course and began descending slowly, heading toward the human outpost. Meanwhile, down on the surface, inside a small underground lab, Jake, Liam, and Kiyora waited for the DNA results. The gene sequencer hummed softly. It had been working for hours. Jake leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Still can't believe we were part of some secret experiment. Liam nodded slowly. If they erased our memories, what else did they change? Kiyora sat in a chair, staring at a small scanner that displayed a pulsing light. Her golden eyes reflected sadness and fear. I was born on a peaceful world. She whispered, my people lived in floating cities. But after humans made contact, everything changed. Some saw hope. Others saw power. That's when the experiments began. Jake looked over. How did you end up in that lab? Kiyora hesitated. I was chosen, taken from my home as a child. They said I had special blood. They mixed it with human DNA. I was told nothing. I only learned the truth when I broke into their files during my escape. Liam rubbed his temples. This is insane. Why would they use us? Because both of you have something rare, Kiyora said. Survivor genes. You're strong, adaptable, perfect material. Suddenly, the DNA machine beeped. Jake and Liam rushed over. The screen flashed green. Result: 50% human match detected. Origin: genetic fusion subjects. Jake Harrow plus Liam Vance. The words stunned them both. What does that mean? Liam asked, eyes wide. Kiyora walked up slowly. It means ... They didn't choose one of you. They used both of you. They took pieces from each and made something new. Jake whispered, the child is a combination of us, mixed into one. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Liam asked, so, we're both the father? Kiyora gave a small nod. In a way, yes. The child is unlike anything ever created. Jake turned to her. Why did you escape with it? Kiyora looked down at her stomach. Because they didn't want it for peace. They wanted a weapon. I couldn't let that happen. I saw kindness in a human once. I wanted my child to be raised in safety by people who still have hearts. Before anyone could respond, the lights in the lab flickered. Then the alarm blared. Jake jumped to the console. Something just broke the outer fence. Motion sensors triggered. Multiple life forms approaching fast. Liam grabbed a scanner. 3 heat signatures, armed. They're not local. Kiyora's face paled. They found me. Outside, the alien soldiers moved through the sand, weapons glowing faint red. They moved like shadows, swift and deadly. Their orders were clear. Retrieve the hybrid girl and erase all witnesses. Inside, Jake slammed a button to close the reinforced doors. We have to move, now. There's a back tunnel, Liam said. It leads to the old fuel station. Kiyora stood up, clutching her belly. I can walk, I'll keep up. They grabbed emergency gear, small weapons, and a field scanner. The DNA machine was left behind, its results still glowing on the screen. As they rushed down the tunnel, Jake looked at Liam. This is our mess. Liam nodded. Then we fix it. The tunnel ended at a hidden hatch under the old fuel station. Jake opened it slowly and peered outside. The desert was still dark, stars twinkling above, but the air felt wrong. Kya gasped suddenly. She dropped to her knees. What's wrong? Liam asked, kneeling beside her. Kiara grabbed his arm. They're using psychic tracking. My thoughts, they're pulling at my mind. Jake checked the scanner. They're 10 meters away and closing. Suddenly, the hatch exploded open behind them. One of the alien soldiers dropped in, black armor gleaming. He aimed his weapon just as Liam tackled into the side. Run! Liam shouted. Jake pulled Kiara to her feet and ran toward the outpost. Garage, half covered in sand. Inside the garage, they ducked behind an old hover truck. Kyara was shaking. I can feel the child reacting, she whispered. It's afraid. But it's powerful. The door burst open. The second soldier entered. He scanned the room, and just as he stepped forward, Kira stood up. Her eyes glowed bright gold. A sudden shockwave of energy burst out from her body, throwing the soldier across the wall with a crack of energy. Jake stared in disbelief. Did you just... Kiara collapsed to her knees. The child protected us, just once. They heard more footsteps. Liam stumbled into the garage, bruised but alive. Third one still outside. We need to go, now. Jake helped Kiara into the truck. Liam jumped in the back. As they sped off into the night, chased by red laser fire, Kiara whispered something only Jake heard. They won't stop. Until we reach the memory core. That's where it all began. That's where we end it. Jake's grip tightened on the wheel. Then that's where we're going. Enemies on the way. The desert rolled past in blurs of darkness and dust. The old hover truck rattled as it flew low over the cracked sand, its engines whining in protest. Jake sat behind the wheel, jaw tight. Liam manned the rear turret, eyes on the stars behind them. Kiara lay in the back seat, breathing hard, one hand over her stomach, the other gripping her glowing pendant. They're still following, Liam said, checking the motion scanner. 2 of them at high speed. One's wounded, but they're not stopping. We won't outrun them forever, Jake replied. We need a hiding place. Kiara opened her eyes slowly. There's an abandoned comms bunker in the old Ridge 40. Miles east, it's shielded. They can't scan inside. Jake nodded and turned the wheel sharply. The truck dipped low, sending up a spray of sand as it changed direction. Liam held on tight. That's a long shot. Jake smirked. Welcome to our lives lately. The alien hunters were gaining. Inside their black stealth gliders, they spoke in harsh clicks and hisses. Their target was alive. Their orders were clear: retrieve the hybrid girl and destroy the evidence. One of them activated a long-range disruptor cannon. Below, Liam saw the sky flash. Incoming. Jake swerved. A burning streak hit the sand just meters behind the truck, blasting it into the air. They landed hard, scraping across the ground. Kiara groaned. They're getting desperate. They want to take you alive, Jake said. That's the only reason we're still breathing. They reached the ridge by dawn. Sharp rocks and steep hills surrounded a narrow cave entrance. Jake parked the truck under a rocky overhang and helped Kiara out. Liam followed, carrying a rifle and a backpack of supplies. Kyra led them through a narrow tunnel hidden behind a dead tree. The walls opened into a wide chamber, an old Terran bunker, covered in sand and silence. Long dead equipment lay around, but one central console still hummed with faint blue lights. Kiara moved to it. This is where the signal ends. They can't trace us inside. Liam set up defenses at the entrance: motion tripwires, heat traps, a stolen alien energy mine. Jake lit a lantern and sat near Kiara. We can't stay here long. She nodded. But this place holds something important: memories, yours and mine. Jake blinked. What do you mean? Kiara touched the console. A small drone rose from the floor, scanning them both. It let out a soft tone, then projected a hologram onto the wall. Jake and Liam stood frozen as they saw themselves younger, standing in this very room, wearing medical suits, talking to alien scientists. And in the middle of the room, an incubation tank with a small glowing embryo. Kiara's voice came from the recording. "Please, just let it live." Jake turned to her, stunned. "You were here. We were here. But why don't we remember?" Kiara's eyes were wet, "Because they took everything from us. They needed your DNA, your minds, but not your guilt." The hologram ended. Jake's fists clenched. "They used us, they erased us, and now they want to finish what they started." Liam stood up. "Then let's not let them." Outside, the alien soldiers had landed. They scanned the rocks. But the signal had gone dark. One of them activated a seeker drone. It hovered, sniffing through the air, looking for any heat trace. Back inside, Kiara stood beside Jake. "There's something else here," she said quietly. "The memory core. It was built into this bunker designed to store thoughts. Real memories. I can access it, but I'll need help." Jake stepped forward. "Tell me what to do." She held out the pendant. "Place this into the core slot." Jake found the slot behind the console and pressed the glowing crystal into it. Room changed. Lights flickered. A hum echoed in their ears. Suddenly, Jake's staggered visions flooded his mind. He saw himself being restrained. Needles, lights, voices speaking in alien tongues. He saw Kiara crying inside a glass room. He saw Liam shouting, trying to fight. Then, darkness. Jake dropped to his knees, breathing hard. "I remember," he whispered. "It's real. It all happened. They took us. They used her." Kiara knelt beside him. "Now you understand." Liam stood guard at the entrance, watching the hills. "We have company." The first alien soldier crept into the tunnel silent and fast. But as soon as his foot touched the sensor line, the trap exploded. Rocks fell, sealing part of the tunnel. The second tried another path, only to trip the energy. "Mine!" Screams echoed, but one survived, the third soldier. Blasted through the rubble, armored and furious, he entered the bunker. Jake grabbed a plasma cutter. Liam raised his gun. Kiara stood behind them. The alien raised his weapon, then stopped. He looked at Kiara, scanned her, then slowly lowered his rifle. "She carries it," he growled. "The child of two worlds." Jake stepped forward. "You're not taking her." The alien's red eyes locked with Jake's. "I will not. My orders were clear, but now I see. The child is not a weapon. It is hope." Everyone stared. The alien stepped back slowly. "They will send more," he warned. "Worse ones. If you care for the child, go to the hidden place. The original lab. The truth lies there." Then he vanished into the shadows. The cave fell. Silent. Jake turned to Kiara. "Where's the original lab?" She looked up. "Deep beneath the ruins of Arc 9. That's where this all began. And where it must end." The truth unfolds. The journey to Arc 9 was long and dangerous. Jake, Liam, and Kiara flew through the high canyons in an old cargo skimmer they repaired at the bunker. The sun burned hot above, but the shadows in Kiara's eyes were colder than space. She sat silently near the edge of the skimmer, staring into the horizon. Jake watched her, wondering what memories still haunted her, what truth still hid beneath the surface. As Liam checked the nav screen. "We're close. The ruins of Arc 9 should be just over that ridge." Jake narrowed his eyes. "Hard to believe. This whole mess started at a lab that's not even on the maps anymore." Kiara spoke quietly, her voice steady. "Arc 9 was erased from records for a reason. It's where they built the first hybrid chamber, where they mixed your DNA and mine. Arc 9 wasn't just ruins. It was a graveyard. Metal beams jutted from broken towers. Burned walls whispered of forgotten violence. Old banners flapped. Weakly in the wind, half symbols, half warnings, the trio walked slowly through the main corridor, their boots crunching over shattered glass and sand-covered data pads. Kiara led them into a dark, central chamber. The walls pulsed faint blue. In the center stood a round platform with a large circular hatch sealed shut. "This is it," she said. Jake stepped closer. "The hybrid lab?" Kiara nodded. "Below this door is everything. The truth, the records, the child's origin." Liam approached the panel. "It needs a code." Kiara reached for her pendant again. This time, she pressed it into the circular lock. The hatch hissed. Metal scraped as the heavy door began to slide open. A staircase spiraled downward into darkness. The lab beneath was cold, untouched by time. Lights flickered as they walked down. Narrow halls. Machines lay silent, but some still blinked with low power. The walls were covered in strange writing, half human, half alien. They entered a control room filled with glass tubes, many broken. Inside, the few still intact, half formed. Shapes floated in liquid. Failed experiments. Kiara's voice trembled. "They tried many times before me. Most didn't survive." Jake's stomach turned. "This place is a nightmare." But then they saw at the central pod, a glowing chamber in the center of the room. Inside floated a fetus, small but strong. Energy swirled around it like stars. Caught in a whirlpool. Jake stepped forward. "Is that?" Kiara nodded. "Yes, that's our child." Liam blinked. "It's still growing?" "It was placed in stasis after I escaped," she said. "I couldn't take it with me, but I couldn't destroy it either." Jake placed a hand on the glass. The fetus shifted slightly, as if sensing him. Liam whispered, "It's alive." Just then, a screen flickered on. An old video played. A human scientist stood before the camera. His face was tired. His voice low. "If you're watching this, then the child has survived. I was part of Project Hybrid. We were told we were building a bridge between two civilizations, but it was a lie. The generals wanted a weapon, one that could blend in, adapt, and conquer from within." The man's eyes filled with guilt. "Jake. Harrow, Liam Vance. You were selected because of your survival traits. You never gave permission. I was the one who wiped your memories." Jake and Liam looked at each other in disbelief. The scientist continued, "But in the end, I saw the truth. This child was more than just a weapon. It responded to love, to care, to kindness. Kiara, you were the only one who treated it like a life, not a tool." The screen went black. Kyara stepped forward, hand trembling. "That man, he helped me escape. He died for it." Suddenly, a loud click echoed from the door. They spun around. 3 more soldiers entered, different then. The last. Heavily armored, eyes glowing blue. Elite hunters. One raised his arm. "Step away from the pod." Jake raised his weapon. "You're not taking the child." The lead alien laughed. "You don't even know what it is. That child could break empires." "We don't care," Liam said firmly. "It's not yours." Without warning, the soldiers fired. Jake and Liam rolled for cover. The lab shook with energy blasts. Kiara dropped beside the pod, shielding it with her body. Jake fired back, aiming at the lights on their armor. Liam tossed a plasma grenade. One of the aliens flew backward. Armor cracked, but the other 2 kept advancing. Then the air changed. The pod glowed brighter. And in a flash of light, it opened. The child hovered above the ground, small, glowing, and alive, eyes wide open. The aliens froze. One whispered, "It's awake." The child raised a tiny hand. And with a burst of energy, all the remaining soldiers were thrown across the room unconscious. The child floated down into Kiara's arms. Eyes closing. She held it close, tears streaming down her cheeks. It chose peace. Jake and Liam stood slowly, stunned. Liam whispered, What What do we do now? Jake looked at Kiara holding the child. We protect it. We raise it. Together. The real father revealed the lab was quiet again. Only the sound of soft breathing filled the air. Kiara, cradling the glowing child in her arms. Jake and Liam stood nearby, their weapons lowered, eyes locked on the strange, floating infant. The child had just unleashed a blast of energy that knocked out 3 elite alien soldiers without even touching them. And now, it slept like any newborn, but it wasn't just any child. It was something new, something impossible. Jake spoke first, his voice low. So, this is it. Kiara nodded, still looking at the baby. The first of its kind. Liam stepped closer, his brow furrowed. I still don't understand how it could be made from both of us. That's not natural. Someone engineered it. Kiara looked up. You're right. It wasn't natural. It was designed. She walked over to a panel near the pod and slid her pendant into the terminal. A soft light pulsed. Then a screen flickered on, this time showing a sequence of DNA strands. This is the original plan, she said. They didn't just mix human and alien DNA. They wanted perfection. Jake frowned. Perfection? Kiara nodded. They scanned the entire Terran genetic database. From hundreds of thousands of soldiers, explorers, scientists. They chose the strongest traits: healing, adaptability, memory, reaction time. And you're saying those traits came from us? Liam asked. Kyara pressed another button. The screen changed. 2 DNA profiles appeared. One marked Subject H23, the other marked Subject H42, Jake Harrow. Liam Vance, she said softly. You weren't just test subjects. You were donors. Jake's mouth dropped open. So we really are. Not quite, Kiara interrupted. You're not the biological fathers. At least not in the normal way. She looked between them. They didn't use one of you. They combined you, Liam blinked. Combined us? Kiara explained. They took parts of both your genomes, your strengths, your abilities, and wove them into one new code, a synthetic human. Created in a lab, stabilized with my alien DNA. Jake took a slow breath. So the child is a genetic blend of the best of both of us? Yes, Kiara confirmed. A new life, designed. But still alive, still real. Jake stepped closer to the sleeping child. He saw his own eyes in the baby's face. But he also saw something else, something that reminded him of Liam. Liam walked over too. So we're not fathers in the usual sense, but part of this child is us, Kiara nodded. And that part matters. Suddenly, the wall screen beeped. An incoming signal. Liam rushed over and activated it. Dr. Malin's face appeared flickering and broken. Jake, Liam, Kiara, listen to me. They know you're in Arc-9. The signal from the child's energy burst. It was picked up across 6 sectors. Kiara's eyes widened. Who's coming? Everyone, Malin said. Military. Mercenaries, alien factions. They all want the child. You have maybe 1 hour, then it's over. The screen went black. Jake turned to the others. We need to leave, now. There's an emergency launch pod in the lower chamber, Kiara said quickly. It was for scientists to escape during a breach. Liam raised an eyebrow. Will it still work after all these years? Only one way to find out, Jake said. They moved quickly, carrying the child wrapped in a silver blanket. The lower chambers were colder, darker. They passed old skeletons in lab coats, fallen consoles, and cracked energy cells. The place had been abandoned in a rush. At the far end of the hall stood a small silver pod, dusty, but intact. Jake powered it on. Lights blinked green. It's working, he said. Kya placed the child gently into the inner cradle, which adjusted and secured automatically. The pod's AI spoke in a soft female voice. 1 adult, 1 infant, ready for launch. Liam Looked around. Only fits two. One of us has to stay behind. Jake stepped forward. I'll stay. Kiara turned sharply. No, I will. This is my fight. You two helped create this child. You must protect it now. No way, Liam said. You're the only one who understands the child fully. Everyone paused. Then Jake spoke. We draw straws. Liam raised his brow. Seriously? Jake smiled. Old-fashioned, but fair. They tore wires from an old panel. 3 pieces too short, 1 long. Jake held them in his hand. Whoever draws the long one stays behind. They each pulled. Jake opened his palm. The long one. He chuckled bitterly. Figures. Kiara's eyes filled with tears. You don't have to. Jake raised a hand. Yes, I do. That child is part of me, but now it's my job to give it a chance. He kissed the baby's forehead, handed Kiara a small data chip. It's everything from the lab, proof of everything. Give it to Malin. Liam hugged Jake hard. You better survive this. Jake smirked. You're gonna owe me drinks forever. The pod closed. Kyara, and the child launched into the sky. With a roar, Jake stood in silence as their signal faded. Outside, the ground began to rumble. The war was coming, and Jake was ready to face it. A new beginning. The launch pod soared into the clouds, fire trailing behind it. Kiara held the child close as they ascended. The pod hummed softly, shielding them from the chaos below. Through a small window, Kiara watched the desert shrink until Arc 9 became just a dark spot on the ground, behind them. Jake stayed, and a storm of war was coming. She whispered, We'll make your sacrifice worth it. Back on the ground, Jake stood at the center of the ruined lab. Alien warships approached. Fast, roaring like thunder. Lights lit up the sky. Ground troops touched down in dropships, weapons drawn. He looked around the ancient place, once a lab, now a battleground. Jake pulled the plasma rifle from his back and locked it tight in his arms. Come on then, he muttered. Let's finish this. Meanwhile, far from Arc 9, the escape pod broke into orbit. Kiara activated a coded beacon. Dr. Malin's ship responded immediately and locked onto their signal. Minutes later, she docked with a small cruiser hidden behind one of Jupiter's moons. Malin greeted them at the airlock. You made it, he said, eyes wide with relief. Kya Hare handed him the wrapped child. She used her power. She? Malin blinked. Kya smiled gently. Yes, a girl, and she already saved our lives. Malin scanned the infant and gasped. Her DNA signature. This changes everything. This isn't just hybrid science. This is evolution. Then let's protect her, Kiara said. Not as a project, as a daughter. Back at Arc 9, the battle had begun. Dozens of enemy soldiers stormed the ruins. Alien drones buzzed through the sky, scanning for the child. But all they found was Jake standing alone, ready. He fought with everything he had. He shot down drones. He disabled armored walkers. He used the lab's defenses, old, but still deadly. The eye inside Arc 9 remembered him. It helped him, but the enemy kept coming. Soon, Jake stood wounded. His side burned. His arm hung limp. But he never stopped. Then a strange silence fell. A tall alien general approached, covered in black armor, face hidden. He walked through the smoke, stepping over wreckage. You're human, the general said. You're protecting a weapon. Jake spat blood. She's not a weapon. She's a child. The general raised a blaster. Where is she? Jake smiled. Far from you. The general fired, and the lab exploded. Jake had triggered the self-destruct. The last thing he saw was a flash of light. 3 months later, peaceful colony orbited a green-blue planet. The air was clean. The sky was always bright. No warships came here. Kya Ra stood outside a small home, holding her daughter, now older, growing fast. The child's golden eyes sparkled as she pointed to the sky. "Stars," she said in her soft voice. Kyra smiled. "Yes, stars." Liam walked up the hill carrying fresh food. He waved at them. "Morning." Kiara handed him the child, who laughed and grabbed his nose. "She's getting stronger," Liam said. "Just like her father's," Kiara replied. They stood in silence for a moment, both looking up at the sky. Liam spoke gently. "No signal from Jake?" Kiara shook her head. "Nothing. No remains, no transmission. Just silence." Liam sighed. "He saved us all. We won't let his name be forgotten," Kiara said. She took out the data chip Jake had given her and handed it to Liam. "It's time," she said. That evening, they uploaded the full lab data across public networks. Every planet, every station, every government saw the truth. Proof of illegal experiments, proof of memory wiping, proof of the hybrid child and of Jake Harrow, the man who sacrificed himself to stop a galactic weapon from falling into the wrong hands. Across the galaxy, opinions shifted. Some feared the child, but more were inspired. A bridge between species had been made, and it had begun with a broken lab, a pendant, and two confused mechanics who never stopped fighting. 1 year later, a small school stood at the edge of the colony. Children of many species played together. Among them was a young girl with glowing eyes and silver hair. She ran faster than any of them. She laughed louder. Her heart was kind, her voice full of wonder. Kiara watched from a bench, smiling softly. Liam sat beside her. "She's special," he said. "She's hope," Kiara replied. They both looked to the stars. Somewhere out there, a hero's memory still lived, not in war, but in peace.